Okie dokie artichoke, it's Bourbon Forage Fishing. I am really curious. I absolutely am in love with this Chapter 8 little book. I'm gonna put it to next to my 2023 Thomas Handy, and we're gonna see, does it hold up? I have a feeling that it is going to hold up, which kind of blows my mind when I think about it. So, Thomas Handy here, Chapter 8 little book here. Let's play the game. Thomas Handy smells like honey, sort of a buttery baked good in there. Honey, mapley, obviously the sort of ginger spice, Christmas spices that you get with rye. Buttery corniness in there. God, that smells so good. It's very, very candy forward, Handy. Handy is candy, boys and girls. Little book Chapter 8. A bit more, comparably, a bit more dilly. Yeah, some dilliness, some rye bread. This smells a bit more savory, not as candy and honey forward. There is still some of that candy and sugary honey in there, but definitely more dill forward. Back to Handy. Kind of got that Buffalo Trace sour cherry is popping a little bit more next to the little book. God damn, that smells good. I'm going for the palate. Okay, Thomas Handy, lots of honey, little sour cherry, typical Buffalo Trace, very candy-y, very sweet, light, not super spicy with the spices, and definitely no dill or rye, like that dilly kind of thing you get with rye a lot of time. None of that pickle juice, none of that. It's just very candy, very honey, very good. Chapter 8, little book. A little bit more mint popping now. Whew. This thing is funky next to Handy, like super funky. That Jim Beam funk is popping. Oh, holy pickle juice, Batman. Whew, funky and pickly. It's very savory compared to sweet compared to the Handy. Yeah, that little book Chapter 8 is very good. It's not as candy sweet. It's not as honey forward. A little more dilly, a little more like rye bready. It is sweet, but not candy sweet like the Handy is. Man, I honestly thought the little book 8 was gonna do better. I think the Handy kind of smokes the little book 8, honestly. I think the little book 8 is solid though. There's a little bit of mint and some dill, but there's a nice sweetness there. Somehow Buffalo Trace is able to get all that. They're able to get rid of all that dill and mint. And it's just candy. Oh, it's so light and sweet. Incredible. Honestly, the little book 8 kind of smells nasty next to the Handy. It's kind of a Jim Beam mildewy funk. We got pickle juice. Yeah, it's... Great finish on the 8. Yeah, that funkiness, the mildewiness and pickliness doesn't come through on the palate as much. It's more sweet and candy. So the palate on the Chapter 8 is, the nose on the Chapter 8 is pretty weak compared to the Handy. You know, it's like a C minus, I would say. But the palate, the mouth is really solid. I think it's a solid B. Maybe a B plus for a rye. The Handy is an A. A on the palate, A on the nose, A on the finish. Everything is money on this. Thomas Handy is better than Chapter 8 little book. I thought this was gonna do better than it did next to one another, but that's why you do side-by-sides, folks. Your memory is not always legit. You know, it's not always accurate. So it's always best to do A and B's next to each other. So we learned something here today. Chapter 8 little book. I would still say buy this. I think it's very good. I think it's a B. Maybe push it a B plus. Thomas Handy though, what a great rye. Bourbon Forage Fishing. Thank you for watching and take care.